Okay, I'm going to teach you a posterior pelvic tilt. So posterior pelvic tilt is one of the greatest ways to train your deep core abdominal muscles. This is really great for someone who experiences some low back pain, feels like they have really weak muscles in their abdominals, feels like they're always kind of aggravated by these aches and pains, especially if you're a desk jockey. If you're someone who sits at a desk a lot, typically this would be an exercise that would be really, really, really good for you. So posterior pelvic tilt is one of the best ways to learn it is to do the opposite of an anterior pelvic tilt, obviously, or to practice the anterior pelvic tilt first. So an anterior pelvic tilt from the side, so you can see it from the side, when you tip your pelvis forward, creating this sway back posture here, that is an anterior pelvic tilt, okay? Many people you'll find walking around in an anterior tilt position, and that creates a lot of low back pain. It really deactivates your ab muscles. They are not really working very hard in this position, puts a lot of strain on the back, a lot of strain on the hips. So the opposite of the anterior tilt is to go directly the other direction. So we're going to tilt under with your pelvis, okay? So we're almost creating a flat back here, and your tail kind of tucks up underneath you. So that is the posterior pelvic tilt. So this would be anterior, this would be posterior, okay? And this, of course, is neutral. So neutral is ideal, of course. You don't want to be walking around in a posterior position or anterior. You want your pelvis neutral. However, but for strengthening reasons, working on posterior pelvic tilting is going to be really, really key. You're going to feel your glutes engage and your abs engage in this position. So the way that we're going to do the exercises is laying on the floor on your back. First thing you're going to do is you're going to try that anterior motion. So you're going to tip your pelvis forward. You'll feel your tailbone go down into the floor. You'll have this big space underneath your back. Then, to find the posterior tilt, you're going to tip all the way back and press your back down into the floor. So there should be no space now underneath your low back, okay? So that's the posterior tilt. So you tip way back. Back is pressed down flat against the floor. So to add action to this, we're going to keep that tilt so your back is down into the floor. You're going to extend both legs up straight, feet are flexed. Keeping that back down, you're going to lower one leg down to the floor and then pull it back up straight. Now lower the other leg down to the floor. Pull it back up straight. So as that leg is closest to the floor, that's where you have a lot of tension here through your abs. Those deep core muscles are working really hard to maintain that pelvic tilt position with the motion. So if this is too difficult with a long leg, you can bend the knees and then do it from this position. Okay, maintaining that pelvic tilt. Now again, if this is too difficult, you can do it as a march, where you just lower your heels to the floor. Okay, so you always want to make sure you're not just moving your legs around, that you're actually getting that pelvic tilt action, because that is going to be what's strengthening those deep core muscles. Okay, so we did posterior pelvic tilt. We did it with a long leg lower. We also did it with a bent leg lowering, and then we did the marching.